Welcome to The Young, Bold, and Old. 3 generations, 1 conversation, a million lessons on life, love, and everything in between.
I'm Elenia. I'm in my 30s.
I'm Marche, and I'm in my 40s.
I'm Beth, and I'm in my 70s.
Ready to tackle your questions about life, work, kids, relationships, and whatever else you throw at us. No filters, no fluff, just laughs, stories, and a little too much honesty. Let's get real.
This is The Young,
The Bold,
and the Old.
All right, today's first topic is, should couples combine finances? I have my own opinion on it, but anybody want to go first?
I think that it depends on the situation.
Okay, like what do you mean? What kind of situation?
Well, if you're just young, first marriage, you're just starting out, yes, put your finances together. But if it's a second marriage,
things get a little complicated.
yes, somebody might come in with a lot more assets than the other person.
But do you think in that sense, like somebody with more assets, do you think that they should still combine but have a prenup? You know, because then in a sense, like they're kind of holding that over the other person's head is, oh, I came in with X amount of dollars and all of this, but I'm better than you, and not saying that they're doing that purposefully, but if you have a prenup, you know, and or at least have a joint account where maybe they don't have access to everything that you have, but you have joint funds.
Yes, I'd say that. Yeah. You could start with whatever. Yeah, from when you got together, maybe whatever you earning together, put it as a joint account, and then you could still keep everything else separate if needed.
I think that makes sense. I have always co-joined. The only thing that's ever been separate is like the house, but then Aaron's on title to the home, so he's just not on the mortgage. But when it comes to cars, when it comes to credit cards, when it comes to the bank account, everything is co. But I know a lot of people who do it where it's not co. It's very, this is my money, this is your money, and when rent comes or the mortgage is, this is what it is, and this is what you owe me.
That can get complicated.
Yeah, I think I went into marriage with that mindset and quickly learned that wasn't working and wouldn't work in our marriage. And so when we met, when I met my husband, we were pretty young, but I was in school and working. I've always worked like 2 or 3 jobs, worked really hard my whole life. And then he came into the relationship also just kind of working a bunch of jobs and hustles and things. And so we both were just working, and it was separated, and we both split the rent. Like, we split everything pretty much 50-50. Of course, like, he paid for dates when we were dating. You know, like, I believe men should always just pay for dinner.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
why not?
Pay for dates and things like that. But yeah, I've always had a very hyper independent mindset. But as far as a marriage mindset goes, I don't think it's sustainable, because like when I got my job very deliberately because we were working on his citizenship. And so I got a job in higher education so that he could go to school for free. And everything I did was deliberate, thinking about the marriage, but we were all, the whole time, everything was 50-50. I had my bank account, he had his. We would just, I don't remember if it was like Venmoing me sometimes or if it was just automatically set up. I really don't remember the logistics now. But that can get a little, I mean, I think it's so stupid to have to Venmo your spouse.
I agree. And or to even be like, I need help financially, spouse.
Let me ask you first. So what happened was, when I became pregnant and got married, and had my daughter, when I got pregnant, and actually after I had my daughter, you guys remember this, but you just can't physically maintain the things that you can maintain before. Like, your whole world shifts. Mm-hmm. You're a mom now, and that's your job. And so I was trying to work full time. I was trying to do all of that, and I felt like I was just struggling quietly, and it was breeding a lot of resentment for me to have to be like, why do I have to ask my spouse for money? Like, why is my bank account bleeding? Why am I struggling to keep up all these things, and with this new role as a mom, while nothing's really changed for him? And it almost caused a divorce. You guys remember that?
So that's why I say a new relationship like yours.
First, start at the mindset.
Yeah. Start by combining your incomes. I think that should be combined.
Yeah. And you know how my mom did it with her husband, which I actually kind of really like, is they both worked. They had the joint bank account, And so everything for bills would go into the joint bank account, but then they would each have their own separate bank account, and then they would get an allowance. And I don't know what that amount is.
Decided upon mutually.
Exactly, yeah. So let's just say it was $100 a week. So then from the joint bank account, they would take their $100 a week and then they would put that into their savings account and they could use that for whatever they wanted. The rest of the money stayed in the joint bank account and was used for paying the bills, vacations, whatever. You know, hey, I'm going to get groceries. Hey, let's go out to eat. But they had their own separate allowance. And I kind of like that. I have yet to adopt that on my own. But the way that like Aaron and I work is we have a rule that if we spend more than $50, and it's not for like the house or something like that, we're supposed to
$50 outside of necessities.
Yes.
And $50 is pretty low for some people.
Yeah, but when you have somebody that likes to buy things, Aaron.
We all have Amazon Prime.
He discovered Amazon.
Yeah. And so, like, I came home one time.
With the shoes last grounding shoes?
Yes, grounding shoes, which I'm not entirely sure if that was real or if he was just, like, joshing us. I went on vacation. I went out for my 40th birthday, and I come home, and there's just these packages coming. And it's because he discovered Temu. And for about a month, we just had packages every day. And so I was like, okay, we got to do something. Like, if you're buying stuff for, like, the house, you know, or if it's, like, a Christmas gift or a birthday present, that's okay. But when you're just out there just buying just random shit, like, we got to have a limit.
That stuff is so dangerous for people that don't have their ADHD in check, and they just...
Right.
I mean, this is a tough generation to be addicted to shopping.
I mean, we had the home shopping network, and when I was younger, that was still a thing. But it's not a thing anymore, but that was harder because those were usually on at night. You had to make a phone call. You had to stay on hold.
Hope to get the last 50. There's only 50 minutes to call and get your diamond ring.
Right?
They have 1,000 of them in a warehouse somewhere.
Right.
When your parents, when you were younger, and your parents, do you know how they handled their finances? Like, what was it like back then?
My mom took care of all the bills.
But they had because your dad worked probably, right? And she was a stay-at-home mom, and then she ran everything. So they had joint. They had joint.
It was joint.
Okay.
He provided the money, and she managed it.
Correct.
Okay. Because I also know a lot of times, especially with stay-at-home moms, and the dad is out there working, and the mom is home, but she's only given an allowance. You know, like, okay, you can have money to buy things like groceries, but for your own personal spending, you get amount of dollars.
I don't like looking at it as my husband gives me an allowance, because that's not how we're supposed to counsel as in a biblical marriage and with your spouse. You are equal.
Yes.
And you have equal roles in the family and what you contribute. And I've seen a lot of, I would consider it emotional abuse when anybody holds money over somebody else's head.
Absolutely.
When you don't look to your spouse as someone who you trust to talk about financial things with, as someone with wisdom, you're creating a child-parent dynamic and not a spouse dynamic where you guys counsel with each other.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like, that's why I feel like we join our finances and we just have those rules in place because, you know, in our family dynamic, I'm the breadwinner, but I don't hold...
But you both work and provide.
Yes, we both work, but I mean, I make significantly more money, but I don't hold that over his head. You know, I don't go...
Because
And that's the thing, but I feel like in society, especially where men are normally it's flipped. Things are changing these days, you know what I mean? But I feel like men, they do hold it. I've heard husbands call it an allowance, and it shouldn't be that way. And it shouldn't be, hey, honey, I can't pay my car payment this month. Can you help me? And then the husband's like, oh, you need to manage your money better. Like, no, you're joint.
If it's a big item like a car, I don't consider that should come out of your allowance. That's just an overall bill that should be combined.
It's an asset. It's a fair asset.
Yeah, cars.
Yeah.
We're on, our names are both on everything. The house, our vehicles, like both of us are on everything.
Yeah.
On all the names. And what we did before is we had so I was working for Salt Lake Community College, and I've always worked a full-time job or multiple jobs. I had a couple, I ran a school, I ran my English school, and I had little side hustles and things, but everything was my money. And then he had his money where he was working his job. And then we kind of transitioned slowly to where we are today, because I remember we made a shared savings. We're like, well, this is where we'll transfer our money from our bank account to the shared savings. And from the shared savings is where we will pay our bills.
Kind of building that trust.
So that's when we started to build that. We were in the right direction. We were heading in the right direction. And then obviously, after I had my daughter, and it just became too difficult for me to, it was really, postpartum was really tough for me to transition from being like such an independent, and a lot of women, I think, in our generation have this, and young men, like most of us are just very, not selfish, but I mean, I guess you could say selfish, but we want to just do it ourselves. We don't have the marriage mindset of, and I don't think, it really took a while for me and my husband to realize, to come to where we are today, where it's like, it's our money. None of it's like my money, your money.
Absolutely.
Even with the school that I run. So there's a separate business. We have business bank accounts.
Which makes sense, because, I mean, that's an IRS business situation. Anyways, that's not personal.
Yeah, but we're both on them. Every single bank account we have now, both of us are on the bank, so we can see all of the spending.
And except
for one where he's partner with another person.
That makes
sense. That's their 50-50 LLC, and he just kind of keeps me in the loop on that. But all extra money that he makes, so any like cash and extra, we've decided to put that money in an emergency savings.
I like it.
So that's where but that was one of a contentious one for us.
What's that? Yeah. And I can see, how if you're used to being, by yourself, or you're more, which I'm a very independent person, that's just the mindset that I have. But I could see how it would be hard to share finances. But I also started in a relationship, with my son's father as soon as I turned 18. So like, to me, I just thought that was what you do. You join finances, and it's bit me in the ass. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of,
because you were in an unhealthy.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it was more like, like, he would know that I got paid. Let's just say back then I got paid on the 5th and the 20th.
Right.
He would know. And so he would wait for my paycheck to be deposited that morning. And then he would go and buy all the beer and cigarettes to last him.
Oh my gosh.
To last him until the next pay period. And so,
oh my gosh.
But we lived paycheck to paycheck. So it literally was like, I had to have that money.
So he made sure he got what he wanted.
Exactly. And there was times that I was like, hey, like, I need help because I have to pay the power and the gas this month, and and he'd be like, figure out a way because I need beer and cigarettes.
And I think what we're talking about is two separate things here. Like, there's some foundational serious issues there.
But because we shared the same bank account, I had to find ways to overcome his extra spending.
Yeah.
And so I mean I've learned a lot of lessons, and thankfully, like, Aaron is not that way. And I have put into place of, I still have to trust Aaron. He's not.
Right. There has to be trust for it to be a healthy.
Exactly. He's not my ex, and I can't, in a quote, like, punish him for past behaviors of somebody else. Yeah. And Aaron is an equal partner for me, know, and so I don't see any issues. And the only reason why we have like a spending limit is just so we don't go crazy,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've been known to come home with new cowboy boots that were a little bit more expensive. It's not just Aaron, but he has a bigger problem than I do.
I've been known to come home with farm animals.
Yes, that is true. You go sell them and you come home with more.
I go to sell them, and I may come home. I believe I went to sell some piglets, and I came home with a 1,200-pound draft horse.
Yeah.
So,
but you made a profit on them when you sold them.
That was a wonderful experience, actually. And honestly, and my husband, we've got to the point he was like, I trust you on this. It was wonderful. It actually worked out. Yeah. And it was a wonderful, it was actually a great, experience. I missed that horse, though.
If you could give advice from, like, how your parents were to how you were with Rick, and now, like, what would you say? Share finances, maybe have a split and work towards that?
I think you should share finances. Like I say, if you come into the relationship with probably equal assets, or like if you're young, you come in together and you
build a life together.
And you build a life together. You work for everything. Yeah. Definitely shared.
Yeah.
But if you go in later in life, where you've worked your whole life and you come in with different amount of assets, I say
it's different.
Yeah, it's different. You have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah,
I think keep it separate.
Keep it separate, but maybe have a joint account or
agreed upon.
So then that way you're not getting an allowance. What either spouse, or like it's not being held over.
At the end of the day, if there's a power imbalance, you're probably not doing it right. You both should be happy with what you've agreed upon together.
Yeah, but it's definitely something you'd have to agree upon.
Yeah. And discussions that you should have before you actually get into marriage.
Yeah, it's a different. There's so many different dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the thing I was going to get into. This just all goes back to me for find a trusted spiritual advisor, whether that's somebody in your church, whether that's family members. Find somebody to counsel with you. I believe in premarital counseling. I wish that I would have done that. Premarital counseling I think is wonderful because a lot of my I don't want to name certain people, but I have people close to me that have done that, and it has made such a world. Their marriage, it's just wonderful to see how smoothly it is because they smoothed those things out before they got married, and they were on the same page before they got married with the big things. It's religion, money, and children, roles, and what you're. They talked about it extensively,
and I think that is so important.
Yeah,
because a lot of us were afraid because what if I bring up something. And I make them mad, and they don't want to date me anymore.
But it's funny because then you get married, and you have to.
Yes, but we have this weird mentality, especially as women, where we'll just change them. They'll change their mind later. I can fix them. It's just some.
I never thought that. I think I was just too dumb to even think about this.
I just thought they were wonderful. I wasn't even going to change it.
Oh boy. Yeah, and that ties back even to our previous episode where we talk about not having sex too soon and before marriage. That's why things are there for a reason, because your judgment is clouded. You want to marry. This is the person you're going to raise your family with.
Yeah.
And your kids are going to refer to them for their childhood.
Right.
It's so huge.
Yeah.
And build your future.
Yeah. No, and Raylan and I were driving, and we had about an hour drive, and she's only 10, and so but she asked, she goes, Mom, she goes, how old can I be when I start dating? Raylan asked that, and because she was just kind of curious. She asks a lot of questions just about random things all the time, and I told her, I said, I can't give you a specific answer now. I said, because it's so far away. I said, but right now I'm going to tell you what I was told. And I said, 16. And I said, and you can't even hold a boy's hand until you're 16. And she was like, I don't want to hold any boy's hands. I was like, good. When you're 16, you can hold their hand.
By the way, do we know where that number come from? Where 16 came from?
No, but
we should look into it. Follow up mini episode.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was just what.
That was what I was always 16.
Maybe because you can drive a car. And so they're like, if you can drive a car, you could date too.
Right.
But I just told her, I said, right, no. But I told her, I said, even when you're 16, and I said, not that I want you to get married young. I said, but that's what dating is.
Finding what you like and don't.
Finding what you like and what you don't like, and your boundaries. And I said, and so one, you never go in thinking that you can change them. And two, you can ask all the questions and get these things out of the way up front, because you're dating to find your significant other. And so I said, don't be afraid to be yourself, to ask questions. And I said, especially about taboo things. And at that time, I didn't mention kids to her. I just said, finances is a big taboo thing. And I said,
wow,
but
it's a heavy thing to bring up with kids.
Yeah.
It's cool that I think it's so cool that you're planting those seeds, because kids are intelligent enough.
Absolutely. And plus now they have the internet, so they can search things. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'd rather her come to me
than
ChatGPT or her friend's sister that's in high school and getting wrong information. And I want to build that trust and that communication now at a young age, so then that way when she does become of an age of where she is having sex, she can have these conversations with me. And and I built that with Colin too. When he was in high school, we talked about sex, and we talked about the woman, how her side of things, and she'll always remember that kind of stuff. I know we talked about this in a previous podcast, but I just think it's important to have these conversations up front. And then I think it's important to have the premarital counseling, because then finances, you already know what you're going to do. You're going to share the finances. You know ahead of time before you get into that committed relationship like that.
I have two things. Sorry, Grandma. Did you have anything? I have two things. This is brought up because there was one thing I wanted to bring up too, because it's funny because, and I know sometimes you can have one idea going into things and then you can change. Obviously, your partners change over the years. I'm not the same person that I was when I got married, because I think and I don't remember now, but maybe we did have conversations, and I kind of fell for that whole feminist Kool-Aid where I'm like, I'm going to be the breadwinner and you're going to watch the kids. But let's be honest, I love children and I love being a mom, and there was no way that I was going to go work in a freaking cubicle and not be with my kids. That's just, no, I'm not, like, I know that you put your kids in daycare and I
know my kids were never in daycare.
Well, I thought you talked to me about that.
My kids have
preschool.
Well, preschool when they became
3.
Age to go to preschool. 3. Yeah, but it wasn't a daycare. It was an actual like legit private preschool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought you. How did you work then when she was?
I'm a boss bitch. No, I'm just.
Grandma. You grandma. Okay, so that's yes. Okay, she watched her.
Yeah, I didn't have daycare. I had grandmas.
Granny daycare
on both sides.
Honestly, that is the best situation if you can have a trusted it's such a blessing. But okay, but what I was going back to that is, I thought one thing and then I quickly realized that I wanted another thing. I was like, I'm gonna be this working mom. I was so miserable. I remember crying we had this breastfeeding room, and it was this ugly little room, like just the worst outdated furniture, and it was just like fluorescent lights.
Mine was an office that I had to put up a curtain over the window.
So I shouldn't complain, because that's better than most women get. I have to say I'm glad that they actually had a dedicated breastfeeding room. Yeah, so they have to like go to their bathroom, that's awful. That's another topic. So I remember being in the breastfeeding room and I was like crying and wanting to be with my daughter, and I'm like pumping my milk, and I was like, this is stupid. So, but where I was going with that is you may discuss something with your spouse in your premarital counseling and then change. So it's important to marry someone that is flexible.
Yeah. But where you guys grow together.
You grow together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And supports you through it. And another thing is like stay true to your boundaries, because even if they don't support you through it, stick to it. And that's part of like the whole counseling is like, this is something I am willing to bend on. This is something I'm not willing to bend on, and stick to it. And your relationship, if it's supposed to withstand it, it will.
Yeah. That's what our therapist told Aaron and I. He was just like, tell me what you want, not what you don't want.
Right.
And then he also said, draw your line in the sand. What is your make or break?
Right.
And like we each had to define that for us. And we talked about it, and now like we're in such a like better place because we had those conversations. And we didn't have premarital counseling. We went to counseling when things got bad. And that's what most people do. Yeah. And luckily we were able to work through it. But, we both changed and we both grew. And, Aaron's also even changing now too, because he found faith.
He found God.
Yeah.
And because when you were like me, you guys weren't religious, or not, I shouldn't use the word religious, but you guys didn't believe in God.
No, I did.
Yes, very lukewarm.
I can say it definitely backslid, but like I grew up in a Christian faith and I've never had any doubts whatsoever.
You were.
I still don't believe that you have to go to church every Sunday, and not saying that I just think that like fellowship is important. Yes, reading your Bible.
You wasn't fellowshipping,
but and that's the thing, and I wasn't fellowshipping, and I do see the importance of going to church. I just don't think it has to be like an every Sunday all or nothing type thing. So, but I sorry, and I don't want to like share. But you're an open book. I know you don't. Yeah. But it was kind of a little bit of like a party lifestyle, and it wasn't very. It's still the same lifestyle. Like we just party in our living room. The only difference is Aaron. He doesn't. But Aaron, but I'm talking about before the dynamic was different, because you guys. I know you've always, and same with me. I have a very similar like. I would never like identify as not believing. I was never an atheist, but I was pretty lukewarm about it, and fruits of my life showed that. And I don't know all of it, but I just know that like Aaron was not a believer. No, he was absolutely atheist, and if I said anything to him that revolved around religion, not that he would get he wouldn't get angry. Yeah. It was a funny joke to him, like, oh, you believe that? That's so stupid. And so it just became like, well, I'm not going to talk about it because I can't make you understand. And
look at him now.
Right. And now he's completely different in that aspect. Like he has to remind himself that that's how he used to be.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And especially also now that he doesn't drink anymore. He's been 6 years sober. That is an absolute big, huge thing as well. And honestly, if it wasn't for him getting sober, our marriage wouldn't have made it.
Right.
So that's, to me, that was one significant thing. And then him finding, God is the other significant thing in his life that, and by him finding God, it has also changed our relationship just because now, not that I couldn't go to church before, but now I don't have to I have a partner. I don't have to kind of be like, well, I'm going to go to church today and wait, like kind of brace myself for that. Like really, you're going to go, and not, like I said, making it sound like he was like this total ass and he wasn't. We just weren't aligned in that sense. Right. And so you never stopped me from going. It's just, when you don't believe in something, you're not supportive of that. And now we have that partnership, which I think is awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone from sharing finances
to religion.
Okay, but the other thing, back to sharing finances, and back to this is like full circle because you were talking about having those premarital conversations and teaching your daughter. I also think you guys aren't going to have a problem with. Okay, I'm gonna try to figure out a nice way to say this, but I think her seeing me in labor may have helped with your birth control,
right?
And the birds and the bees talk because my niece, when I had a home birth and my niece was six when she saw it, and I think I may have scarred her for life. I think she will remember that. Hopefully,
she wants like 4 or 5 kids.
I know. I think it was. I love it, but just before she starts dating, maybe we'll just show her like labor videos.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So we like, remember this.
Let's talk. So this is our new teen pregnancy avoidance seminar. We're just gonna have the kids come in, kind of like when you're driving at driver's ed.
Yes.
And what's that one like the blood on, do birthing videos.
I like
labor videos.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was funny when she did bring that up on occasion. She said it hurt really bad. I could tell. I know.
Yep.
She goes, I could tell that it really hurt really bad.
Oh, that's too funny.
What else? She come up with some funny things. She'd ask me about it.
But
she's hilarious.
I love that she still wants to. She wants kids still.
For a while, though, there was a little bit. She was kind of maybe convinced she wasn't going to.
Right. She asked you after that. She was like, "Grandma, do I have to have kids or something like that?" Like,
and then
now she's all about having kids. She wants like 4 or 5.
Oh.
And then the funniest thing she says, she goes, "You know those commercials where you see the little babies with the boogers running down its face and they're crying?" She goes, "I think I'm just gonna adopt one of those. I'm just gonna get one of those and just wash its face."
Gosh, she's so funny. Oh, I love her. Well, maybe that can transition us into our second topic.
Okay.
What's one thing that bothers you that shouldn't? For Raylan, apparently it was boogers on the face.
That bothers me too.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. But I have something.
Okay.
That's great.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. It's rather ridiculous, and when you guys hear it, you're gonna be like, what? So, and I told Aaron about it, and now he does it on purpose. But it doesn't bother me. I feel like now that I've shared, right? Yeah. But like, I feel like now that I've shared, though, like it doesn't bother me. So, anyways, all right. When he would get into bed before me, because we go to bed at the same time, and that's just how we've always been. Like, oh, are you tired? Yeah, I'll go to bed, and we always go to bed at the same time.
But that's not hard to do because he goes to bed so dang early.
And now it's a little bit different just because sometimes he does fall asleep at like 7:30, but he sleeps on the couch. And then I'll wake him up when I'm ready to go to bed.
Will he do that on purpose? Like, so I'll sleep on the couch so that not to upset you? Or
possibly, I don't know. But that's not even what upsets me. The part that upsets me is that him getting into the bed, not going to bed before me, but getting into the bed before me. So, like, I'll go to the bathroom, I'll brush my teeth, he brushes his teeth,
and
then...
He can't get into bed after brushing your teeth before you.
Well, no, he can, but, like, wasn't that, like, and I had to tell him, I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing. I was like, but it makes me angry to my core, and it bothers me so bad, but I cannot stand it, because, like, he doesn't sleep in pajamas, and I do. So I'll get my pajamas on, and while I'm getting my pajamas on, he goes and gets in bed. No, that's not okay.
That is so.
I'm so confused.
Yeah,
I
don't know. It bothered me, and like, because I like to get into bed first, and then like I cover myself, and he shuts off the light, and then he would get in,
so
and
you
then
had an idea of like how it would.
Routine.
Like this is an I Love Lucy episode where it's like, good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. But now that I like recognized it, and then I told Aaron about it, one, he does it on purpose now. Like he'll run to the bed now and he jumps in and he's like, I got it at first. But now that I spoke about it, I've like let it go. It doesn't anger me anymore. It's okay. Now I can laugh about it. But yeah,
funny.
It's one thing that bothers me or bothered me that absolutely should not.
The only thing I have, I do not like my faucets to be spotted. It's just silly. So somebody will come in and get a drink or something, or wash their hands or something, and leave spots on the faucets.
Like wipe the water up.
On the actual faucet, the chrome part.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so hard not to leave. Like you'd have to constantly wipe. Do you constantly wipe your faucet?
It's good though. It's a good practice because it causes mold and it's
corroded.
It just drives me crazy having spots on my faucets. And I'm not real. I mean, I like clean things, but I'm not crazy.
That's your thing, though.
Yeah, that's my thing. I mean, I can have a sink full of dishes, but my faucet's gonna be. There won't be any spots on my faucet.
Walk by a sink full of dishes, let me just clean it. It's good, right?
Oh, that's funny. What about you?
So funny. I never knew that. You guys are weird. I'm good about myself now. Okay, so this is a huge pet peeve, and I just feel like I can't be the only one. If you guys have this same, like, if you feel the same way, please let me know, because my husband makes me feel like I am this crotchety, old, crazy person. So, the thing now, so we don't go out to eat very much. And we went out to eat, like, last year, and I think it was the first time I encountered this. And I've started to see it more over the last few years. Maybe COVID brought it about. Freaking digital menus. If you come to my table, especially if I'm paying a lot of money to be at a restaurant, like money that's like, okay, I could use that money for other things. I want the experience of being at a restaurant. I don't want you come to the table and be like, scan this QR. I will not scan your freaking
You want
QR
a paper
code.
menu. You
I
want
a paper
in your hand.
menu in my hand. I want my phone not on the table. That's disgusting. I want it in my bag. I don't want to have to be on my phone looking through the menu and the QR code. Yeah. I want a menu, and I know that I'm sure all restaurants are eventually just going to go QR code, and I guess I'll just become a homebody. I just won't go. I won't eat there. Like, if you don't bring your menu, I guess I won't order.
Yeah, and it started because of COVID. That's what started it. But like, you're right. I think that, well, I don't know. I feel like some restaurants that did come out with the QR code are now coming out with paper menus. But I've also learned this too, that if you ask for a paper menu, they usually have one.
There's some won't. So my first experience with it's a sushi place off of State Street. It's like right on the corner of State Street. I cannot think of it. It's got kind of like an outdoor section that's kind of Asian, and I cannot think
downtown.
It's right across from the old Sears. It used to be the Sears.
I know what you're talking about.
And now I don't know. I think it's just an empty car lot now. Yeah,
but I know which I've eaten.
It's right across. Yeah, we went there for like an anniversary or birthday or something dinner a couple years ago or a year ago, and it's like it's not the nicest, but it's like you dress up and it's nice, date night. And we went and we sat down and there was like, and I said, can I get a paper menu? She's like, we don't have them. And I was like, let's go. I was so mad. I was pissed.
You call mine ridiculous? Yes. You left a good restaurant.
No, we stayed, but I was pissed. I had to, I definitely complained for the rest of the night.
Oh, that's too funny.
It's like, this is stupid that I know. We had the food was good and we had a nice night. Dado finally was like, okay, we get it. You don't like the QR code menu.
Our weird things, like,
that's funny.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, I feel like ours are all like ridiculously like just, we should not be angry.
It brings up a visceral response in me.
Yeah, well, that's too funny.
I really want to know what people's weird.
Yeah. Let us know. Send us a DM.
Or comment.
Either one.
Whatever you do on these things, social media.
I don't know. I'm new to social media, so whatever we do now.
Whatever you do. Oh, that was fun. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Insta, TikTok, everything else. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you will never miss an episode. We are the young,
bold,
and the old.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.